Hi guys! Today I thought I would talk about one of my two problems which I mentioned in my welcome video, which if you haven't watched you can watch it in the description, I'll leave a link. Today I thought I would talk about my anxiety and my sertraline story. It's quite a deep one, so if you don't believe in mental illnesses, you don't care about anxiety, etc., please just click off it now. I don't want to hear any of the bad comments. I don't want to hear any of the you shouldn't be on those tablet comments, because I've heard it all 10,000 times before. I'm doing this video to help the people who have been in my situation or are in my situation and need someone to listen to or talk to. So yeah, hopefully this will bring some awareness or get some help for some people. I'm basically just going to talk about my experience and how I get on with my tablet. Story time begins. Ever since I was little, I've been a worrier. I've worried over little things, silly little things, but I never looked at it as anxiety when I was little because obviously I was a child, so I never ever pictured that I had anxiety. And then when I got to about 15, I think it was 15, 16, I had a big thing happen to me in my life which was pretty horrific. I'm not going to go into it, I'm not going to talk about it. Some people who are watching this video probably know. And that started it. That made me feel a little bit wary of people and made me a little bit worried around people. So I was more anxious than I was when I was a child, so that's when I started to think something's wrong here, something's not right, but it never fully clicked that I had anxiety. I used to get a little bit low as well, like at night time, like not in the day, I was fine in the day, but at night time I was a bit low. I used to feel really lonely even though I was with people and things like that. And then I got over it. I mean, I didn't enjoy school, I didn't enjoy sixth form, I didn't like the people at sixth form. Didn't enjoy the company, I didn't want to be there, so that kind of brought me down a bit. So I always just thought that it was me being silly because I didn't like sixth form. So I kind of got over it. I pulled myself together. I was like, okay, stop being so stupid, and I carried on. Then lost my uncle, which if you're an old viewer then you already know about my uncle. My uncle and his girlfriend went missing at sea and were found dead a couple of weeks later, and that's when it started. That's when I realised there was a problem, because I literally used to cry in my room. I mean, obviously a death makes you cry, but I used to cry in my room. I felt alone a lot of the time. I felt as if I took for granted my family because I hadn't been close with my uncle, and I got really bad. I then started to have panic attacks. So I used to wake myself up at night panicking, just slight panic attacks, nothing major. And it progressed to the point where I wouldn't leave my house. If I left my house, I would stop myself breathing. Not purposely, like I wasn't doing it to harm myself, but I would subconsciously like hold my breath and keep it in so I didn't have to go out. My panic attacks got so bad that I literally would not fall asleep. Like I was scared of falling asleep because I knew that I'd stop breathing and I'd wake myself up in a panic. It got so bad that one time I was on my bathroom floor screaming and crying, and I literally lost my sight for like something stupid like 2 seconds, but those 2 seconds were quite like significantly scary. But I refused to go onto tablets because people were drilling it into my head that I didn't need them and that I was going to be stuck on them for life if I went on them. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. So I refused point blankly to do that. And I got a lot of my therapy through talking to people. But there's only so much talking you can do, and you're not going to tell everyone everything about how you actually feel. Even to like a counsellor, I didn't want to go to a counsellor. I didn't want to talk about things that were personal to me to them. And then I kind of drilled it into my head, like, you're gonna have to get through this, like you can't live your life like this. So I managed to I took it slowly. I went outside and I had a toddler toy that I used to play with in my hand. I went out with my friend Luke and my mum a lot because they understood what it was like. And then my mum went on holiday and I had to stay with my grandma because I could not stay on my own in the state I was in. And my grandma, bless her, she's one of those people who, she knows that anxiety's in your head, and although it's horrible. She knows that it's all in your head and you can sort it yourself. So there was, I'm not going to say there was no sympathy, but she wasn't as sympathetic as my mom, so I kind of felt I couldn't panic and I physically had to man up. So I think while my mum was away for 2 weeks, I had about 4 or 5 panic attacks there, which was nothing compared to what I was having. And then I remember going to the 1975 concert with a few of my friends, and I was at my worst then. And I just thought, right, I've got to do this. So I just went. I was panicking the whole time, but it was such an achievement to think that I could do it. And then I started university, which my anxiety kind of went because I didn't want to suffer with it, and I pushed myself. I went on public transport for the first time in ages myself, and I just thought, I've got to do this. It stopped there, and I thought that was the end. I was like, thank God for that. I was still a little bit of a worrier, but I just thought, that's it. And then I went for about a year. No, it's not even a year. I went for a few months basically without panic attacks, without anything. And then when I started to get stressed at university again, I started to panic. And I got to the point where I thought, I cannot live like this anymore. And I literally didn't want to just think myself out of it this time. I just thought, if this is going to keep happening, I don't want it to. I don't want to live like this. So I told Mom that I wanted to go to the doctors, which she obviously knew something was wrong because I do not go to the doctors. Like, I hate the doctors so much. First of all, I did a quiz on the NHS website about anxiety and depression, and it told me that I had severe anxiety and slight depression, and to go and visit my GP as quick as possible. So that's what I did. I was basically going for my pill checkup, and she told me that my blood pressure was high, and I was like, yeah, I kind of want to talk to you about my anxiety. And she diagnosed me there and gave me the choice between Prozac and Sertraline. I knew a lot of people who were on Sertraline, so I went for Sertraline, and I just started on 50 milligrams. Let me tell you, starting Sertraline was the best thing I've ever done, but the worst thing I've ever done. The first week on antidepressants is horrific, and my first week on Sertraline, I felt like I was living in a goldfish bowl. I felt like everyone was looking at me. I felt paranoid. I was panicking a lot more. I could not sleep for 3 days, like literally no sleep. I felt dizzy a lot of the time. My head was banging where you could feel the chemicals moving in my brain. And everything was overwhelming. I remember sitting at a family party and I was like, oh my God, like everyone's looking at me. This is so overwhelming. And then after that first week, it just stopped like that. Like everything stopped. I haven't had a panic attack. I think I've had 2 panic attacks and I've been on them for about 4 months. I'm more confident. I have had a few down days where I've said to my mum, I want to be up to 100 milligrams. But I think that's just natural that you're going to have low days. Overall, yeah, I've done really, really well with these tablets, and I think that I'm going to stick on them as long as I need to. Some of my family don't think I should be on them, but I know myself, personal preference, how I feel, and if I want to be on them or not. So I think your best bet is to try and do it through your mind, but if you can't physically do it through your mind, then to go and speak to your GP and see what they suggest, because they will suggest counselling, they will suggest tablets, they'll suggest whatever is best for you, and I think that's just the best thing to do. I think that's all I can say really, other than I'm feeling fine at the moment. I'll let you know if anything happens upwards or downwards with my anxiety and depression. And if there's anything else you want to know, please, please, please comment this video or email me. I'll put my email in the description, or tweet me or whatever, because I'm literally here to help, and I will be an ear to listen to your problems and talk back to you. I hope my story has helped someone somewhere, because that's my goal, and thanks for listening. Bye.